Fulham 0, West Ham 1, and a massive sigh of relief, I think, for everyone connected with the club. Riley, mate, it wasn't pretty. It wasn't. I don't think it was ever designed to be pretty, but ultimately it worked. Whatever David Moyes put in place. Don't get me wrong, I saw the lineup like everybody else, and I when I first heard about it, I was quite shocked. Thought, oh gosh, it felt to me like a desperation move from Moyes. In terms of who he brought in and the players that he dropped, etc., and the formation as well. But ultimately, mate, it's a win, and it's a big win because that win arguably could be the win that sees us over the line this season, and it could be that those 3 points could be the ones that keep us up. So I can't not be happy. How are you feeling on the result after yesterday?
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't pretty, but it didn't need to be, did it? I mean, realistically, like we said this season, all we've got to do is beat the teams around us, and technically Fulham is not one of those teams, so we can look at these points as bonus points, essentially. We've still got Leicester, still got Bournemouth, Palace, I mean, Leeds as well, I think, as well. So we've got some fairly winnable games left for the end of this season. It eases a little bit of pressure. It always seems when Moyes' job's on the line, we get a result, though. I mean, whether that sort of leads to the idea that the dressing room is actually behind him and the players do play for him when his job's on the line, I'm not sure. But I mean, if they were without Mitrovic, they were without Willian, they didn't have a proper striker up front. Like you say, it wasn't pretty, but yeah, we got the result, and that's all that matters. For me, it's another 7 points, and we'll probably be home and dry. But yeah, the result wasn't great, but it was a huge roll of the dice by Moyes. He made, I believe, 5 changes, and went pretty bold for a system that I think doesn't really work very well. A 4-4-2. It's not very exciting. It's the kind of formation where you are trying to just grind out a 1-0 result and then see out the rest of the game. The fans have been calling for 2 up top. Did it work?
No, I don't think it did work. And the reason I say that is because I don't think Danny Ings and Antonio play at all well together. They got absolutely no sync. Chemistry at all. None. It's almost like they've never played with each other before in their lives. But I get it. I understand why he did it. Like you say, people have been calling for it. Look, I've come to the conclusion now this season, and I think a lot of fans, I think this is purely where we are. We just need the points to survive. That's all that really matters now. It doesn't matter about performances. It doesn't really matter about how well we're playing on the pitch and the flair and what a wonderful goal. No one really cares anymore. I think let's just get the job done. Like you said, Riley, mate, and I'm totally with you. I think 7 points would be enough. And that's how we need to look at it now. Look at the last 10 games to go and go, right, we need to get, or 9 games to go, we need to get 7 points in these games. I think it's achievable. I wouldn't say against Arsenal was probably those points will come from that. And I think we've got to have that kind of mindset now as fans and go, right, this is it. We just got to try and get some points over the line. And I actually think that's what Moyes is doing. I think that's all that game was. It was like he just went back to the old guard, the trusted allies. I'll get Creswell back in. I can trust him. I know what he's going to do. I'm going to bring Souček with Rice in the middle. And I appreciate Paqueta was injured, so that's why that happened. However, I totally agree with the decision to drop Agurd. I think Agurd's been quite poor recently. I know he played okay against Southampton, but I think he's been making a lot of mistakes recently. And ultimately, he needs to make these decisions. I think, and also don't forget, I don't think Ogbonna had done anything wrong to be dropped. I think he'd been playing really well up to that point when he left the team. So I don't really know why he was dropped essentially for the. I understand actually. No, I do understand why, because it was Zuma and Agurd, and that kind of that's our main central pairing. But Ogbonna's such a good defender still. I think he actually should have got. I don't know whether he officially got man of the match, but he was certainly up there yesterday. Very, very good performance. Look, it worked. It was awful to watch. It wasn't pretty. But do you know what, Riley, mate? It's been such a testing, dire season where let's be honest, how long, 9 months have we been having of this season? Something like that, 9, 10 months, whatever. And I've kind of got to the point where I just want to enjoy it. I want to just look at the table and go, oh, it's a win. It's a bank holiday weekend. I just want there's a bit of sunshine out. I'm just going to, rather than moan about Moyes, because don't get me wrong, I've still got my feelings on David Moyes now quite firm. I'm not going to be wavered from it now. I think he has to go. I think this is his last season at the club. I really, really do not want to see him survive this season, this summer. I think he will if we win the cup and stay up. I think they'll give him another chance. I don't really want to see that. I just think he's done. I really do think he's done. But I don't want to be here to moan about Moyes today. I actually think I think he deserves a little bit of credit for that. Actually, I thought it did work. It was awful. It was awful in terms of watching it, but defensively, I'd say 10 out of 10 performance from West Ham. Really defended well. Fabianski didn't really have much to do all game. And I know you say, well, they didn't have Mitrovic, they had Willian out, but they're still a good side, Fulham. And we were away from home in the Premier League. And to keep them pretty much at bay the whole game and not really have any danger is pretty good going. And arguably, mate, we should have won by maybe 2 or 3 goals in the end. I mean, did you see? I don't know if you saw the Max Cornet miss at the end. Which
I did. Yeah, did see that. Yeah,
but so first of all, mate, before we go into too much detail about the game, who was your standout players for this one? Did anyone sort of catch your eye and you were really pleased with?
I mean, for me, I think it's got to be Jared Bowen. He just works his socks off. I mean, the thing about a 4-4-2 is it's all about control in a 4-4-2, which is why it's so ridiculous that we only had 23% possession, because the whole point of 4-4-2 is to play possession football, slow build up, work it into your strikers, that kind of stuff. How we managed to have 23% possession in a game where we're playing 4-4-2 is beyond me. I have no idea how we managed that. Probably because we have Souček in the middle of the park instead of alongside Rice, which again, you need to be controlled in the middle of the park. You need someone like Flynn Downs who's going to be good on possession. That's why you have players like Fornals instead of Ben Rama, because you need defensively sound players. You don't need players who are quick or going to beat a player. You just need someone who's defensively sound, can run the channels. That's why Bowen is so effective in that game. And he basically got the assist for the goal. His perseverance to keep going for the ball. Quick thing about the goal. Do you think it was handball?
What, the build-up? What would say? Sorry.
So it sort of like came to Soufal and he sort of like went like this.
Oh, yeah. Possibly, yeah. Possibly got a little bit away with it. Because there wasn't much fuss made about it from what I've seen anyway. There wasn't too much fuss. So, yeah, I when I watched it back, I thought, oh, dear, yeah, I'm not sure about that. But, we got away with that one. But I would, like you say, I was really impressed with Bowen, though. He really did make that goal and really persevered. And you're dead right, mate. He was excellent. And that system did really work well for him. It was such a strange game because, like you say, when I first heard the lineup, and my initial thought was, bloody hell, Moyes is going for it. We're just going to go all out, gung ho for the goal, and it's going to be a high scoring game. I thought we're going to be so open, but we're going to be battering their goal, and it's just going to be a really entertaining game of football. Yeah, total opposite. Like it was the absolute polar opposite. He put 2 up top, which didn't really work. Ings and Antonio is just not a good combination whatsoever. But fair enough. People have been calling for it, and there you go. He delivered it. But you're right. Like Fornals was absolutely no way instructed to go forward. It was very much a case of you are protecting Creswell, and I think it was pretty much the same for all over the pitch. I think Rice and Souček were told the same. You're not to go forward. You protect the defenders. It was just a game of let's just not concede a goal. Let's try and nick a win. And it worked. And dare I say it, mate, I'm pretty comfortable with that throughout the rest of the season. If that's what Moyes is going to do now, just to grind out points. I mean, let's be honest, we've got Arsenal coming up, and I'm not the only one to think about that yet, because we've still got another game midweek as well with Ghent in the Europa League, which is far more exciting to look forward to than playing Arsenal at the moment. But I'd be more than happy with Moyes to go against Arsenal and say, look, I'm going to play 10 men behind the ball. We're just going to defend for hell and desperately try and frustrate them. Because if we can defend well and it does work, it works. Trying to play against teams hasn't worked this season. We've tried to play all these different systems and this and the other. Well, when I say loads of different systems, 2, because Moyes hasn't really got any much more than that. But it hasn't really worked. I mean, look, we tried to do it against Newcastle and they just ripped us to shreds. So I'd much rather just put, I'd certainly go for a back 5 against Arsenal. But looking at the positives yesterday, mate, it was, I was overall really pleased. And yeah, sorry, go back to your original question. No, I thought we might have got away with that a little bit with the handball, but but we need a bit of luck, mate. And bloody hell, and even with the deflection, when you just sort of thought, thank God, something's actually gone our way for once, and we've got 3 points there. But I actually, although we barely had any possession, and overall, you've got to say West Ham probably did deserve it. You know what I mean? Because they didn't really trouble us all game. And as much as it doesn't look great on stats paper, you kind of think, well, that's what we're going to do. Moyes didn't really want the ball. He's probably said to them, yeah, let them have it. If you remember, that's kind of how we did it for the previous 2 seasons. Our possession stats used to be very low, but we were just effective when we had the ball. And I felt like that's what we were a little bit at Fulham. So it was I'm happy, mate. I've got to be happy with that. It's an away win, so
yeah. I mean, I sort of had the complete opposite reaction to you when I saw the team sheet, and I thought, well, There's no flair in this team. He's been told by the board, obviously, he can't lose this game. That's exactly what he's gone out to do. I think it's pretty much just by chance we managed to win that game. He's obviously gone out and told the players. I mean, you've got rid of someone like Ben Rama who's going to attack a fullback and create a chance for someone who's a little bit more defensively minded, a little bit more hardworking in Fornals. You've got Souček and you've got Rice in the midfield. You've got just two strikers up top who are he's going to try and isolate them basically and just let them play off each other. He's got Creswell in. He's got Ogbonna in, who's slow, but, a good defender. He's not going to go forward too much. He knows what he's doing.
Yeah.
I think Fornals used the term old guard. He brought in his established players that he knew would play for him, I guess. And, I don't know. The 4-4-2 for me, I don't think works at all. No. I mean, he sticks Skamaka up top with Ings and maybe you've actually got something decent, but if we play that way against like Bournemouth or Leicester or Leeds or Palace, then we're going to get ripped to shreds, in my opinion.
Really?
I think they'll be fighting for their lives. They'll, if that lineup comes up against you, you're just thinking to yourself, right, counter, just hammer him. Just keep attacking. And there's no way across those games that we're going to be able to keep as defensively sound as we did in that game. And we need to be winning those games. We can't be. I know we did win yesterday, but honestly, it was just by chance. We just managed to get a good goal. And that was it. I still think the idea of a 4-3-3, I still think Ben Rama needs to be involved. Souček needs to be dropped. We need to get Paqueta back in the lineup as well. I don't mind having Creswell or Soufal in. I don't mind having Ogbonna in. That's fine. The back line can stay. But I think going forward, we have to offer more in the games that we must win. Because like I say, Moyes did not set up that game for a win. He set it up just not to lose. So against someone like Arsenal, I completely agree with you. Why not set up that way? Aim to try and control the game because we know that's what Arsenal are going to try and do against us anyway. But I'm sure that'll be a talk for another video.
It will be, yeah, definitely. I know, like you say, mate. It's a tricky one. I mean, at the end of the day, for me, Moyes is coming towards his end at the club. I just can't. We've had such a dire season under him. I don't want to go into slagging off Moyes. We've done it so often, and I've certainly done more than myself now. And the last video was a bit of a rant about it all. But one thing I did allude to I did speak to about on that video was against Newcastle. Moyes just looked so lost. Like he genuinely looked a defeated man mentally. Just like he was. I don't know if you've seen it, but I was speaking about there was a moment in the game when Pope was injured. Or I don't know whether he was injured. Someone's messaged me about that and said, actually, Eddie Howe does this quite a lot in games where the goalkeeper suddenly needs treatment. But basically, I think he uses it as a bit of a time for a bit of a team talk. Newcastle were beating us 2-0 at this point. And he was barking instructions at their team. They were totally engaged with him, all looking at him. He's pointing this, he's pointing that, he's saying that. And then all of a sudden the camera pans to Moyes. He's just standing there, just staring. And we're 2-0 down.
Kevin Nolan was the only person saying anything during that.
He doesn't know what to do. He's genuinely going, I don't know what to do. He can't even see the dangers. He doesn't know what to do. And this game, mate, and that performance against Fulham felt like that. It just felt like it was just a last throw of the dice. 4-4-2. We're not going to try and concede. I'm going to go to the players I know and trust, and just fingers crossed and get the right result of. And it worked. I mean, it worked for him. He will feel really pleased with himself this morning. And he gets enough criticism. It's fair enough. He can feel a bit vindicated today and think, well, my decision worked. I went with a system that it isn't pretty, isn't great. The instructions were very, like you said, Riley, don't lose this game. We didn't. We won. Kept a clean sheet. It's brilliant. And let's be honest, those 3 points could keep us up. They're that important because we weren't expected to win that game. I think most of us, I certainly was expecting us to lose it. Funny enough, I did a predictor a few weeks ago, and I had us finishing on 36 points, but I had us drawing against Newcastle and drawing against Fulham, so we're actually a point up now. So I've got us finishing on 37 if they keep going. But I've only got one more win this season for us, and that's against Leeds. I don't think we'll win another game, but you never know. I've certainly not got us to get anything against Arsenal. One question, mate, before we wrap this video up, and it is I want to keep this positive, this video, because it is a good result, and we can't get away from that. That's a big win. The Danny Ings situation, though, mate, I've got to say, I'm starting to think, was this what have we signed him for? Because on his own, very isolated. Moyes has said doesn't really work. The system doesn't work around him. He can't. He was then supported by Antonio, and I thought it was awful. Like really struggled to make any impact on the game, and he looks so slow. Like genuinely has zero pace. Like honestly, frightening. I mean, at one point, I remember he's passed it the ball to Bowen, and Bowen's then going out to the wing as if to say, right, we're going to do a system here. You go in front of me, I'm going to cross. And Bowen outrun Ings, and Bowen's got the ball. So Bowen's running along with the ball, and he's just running the box, and he's miles behind him, and he's just huffing and puffing, and Bowen's beyond him by a mile. You can see Bowen looking up as if to sort of say, "Where are you?" And he was miles behind. So I'm actually starting to think, God Almighty, like, was this just another expensive player we brought in, and really, it's not really fitting our system. What's your feelings on Danny Ings?
I mean, he used to be a player you could chuck the ball in behind on. He's going to latch onto it and score, but he has sort of had to adapt his game a little bit. But he can finish the ball, mate. He's got a great strike of the ball. I feel like if he was playing off someone like Skamaka, who would actually drop and then find Ings, or maybe even would take more of a advanced role in the team. It does seem like when we had Hernandez a few years ago, he really struggled to get into games because all he can do is finish. I think Ings works hard and he does what he can, but he really played well when he was 2 up top at Aston Villa. When they went to 3, he did struggle at times, but he had a good partner in Ollie Watkins, and that is someone who works hard and sort of does an Antonio. Sometimes goes to the wing, sometimes not. But for me, I think if we're starting a 3, you probably have to go Antonio. I think just with unless we're going to try and play more possession football, because if we play counter attack, it just doesn't seem like he's quite like I'm more with Antonio running at a defence than Ings at the moment. But also, you look at that corner chance. How easy would it have been just to square it to Ings? And I guarantee he would have scored that, because that's what he's there to do. He's there to. You haven't got to put it on a plate for him, but you give him a half decent chance, and I guarantee Ings finishes that better than Cornet does. So for me,
and do you know what that Cornet chance made me feel like? It was almost like Cornet didn't want to pass to it, Benrahma, purely on the basis that it makes Benrahma look good here. He's going to get a goal on his come on as a sub. He gets a goal. Fucking hell, he's ahead of me now in the pecking order. You know what I mean? It's almost like Cornet was like, I need to finish this. I need to put this away because I need my name on that score sheet. That's what that screamed to me a little bit, because it was so obvious he had to pass that ball because it was a goal. And it does annoy me actually, because the battle we're in to survive in this league is that every goal matters, in terms of goal difference as well. So you are a bit like that. Literally was just a gift. Why didn't you just square it? But look, as I said, I don't want to be any negative about this video, because we've been so negative for so long on this channel, and rightly so, because of West Ham this season. So it's just nice to finally have a bit of something to be a little bit encouraged about, because that has breathed some life into our battle to stay up. I do now have a lot more confidence that we can do it, because I look at the games of May, and like you said, Riley, maybe 6-7 points is going to be enough. And you kind of think, well, I do think there are 6 or 7 points in there for West Ham. I think we can do that. It's not going to be easy. But we're starting to see a bit of a gap forming now as well in the league. That some teams are I'm starting to see worse teams than West Ham, and thank God. I mean, I think Southampton are gone, I would say now. They look like they're pretty much going to go. I think as well the next game's Man City, I think.
They just played City yesterday.
No, they just played City, haven't they? They've got another tough game next, I'm pretty sure. I can't remember. I have to look at the fixtures, but they've got a bit of a tough run. Leicester have got a very, very tough run. Nottingham Forest have got a horrific run, and they're out of form. So you look at these teams now and thinking, do you know what? We probably will be okay if we can just get a couple more results over the line. That should see us okay, because that's all that matters now. Like, it literally is just a case of just get the points and just get this season wrapped up as quick as possible, and get some survival sorted. And then we can hopefully, mate, look forward to a cup final if we can make it. But all in all, mate, what our closing statements then, what's your feelings then overall? Are you feeling happy over after that result?
I mean, yeah, like you say, it's just getting a tiny bit of breathing room, which albeit is only 3 points. But I think if you looked a couple of weeks ago at how many points we'd be getting, I probably would have put Fulham down to a draw would be a good result. So, for me, it's just bonus points. Again, I only feel like we need to beat the teams around us in order to, stay up. So realistically, we just have to beat Bournemouth, beat Leicester, and we're pretty much, home and dry. So for me, it's all about the result. I think the team doesn't work. We stumbled upon a victory, but if it works, it works.
It does, mate. It does. And do you know what, mate? Just before we finish this off, I just realised something I want to mention is that someone sent me the form guide as well. It was based on the last 10 Premier League games, and West Ham are 9th in the table on form. which also gives a lot of encouragement because I think bottom of the league were Leicester. I think Forest are right down there. There's some teams that are really, really struggling that are all around us that are right rooted down the bottom. Southampton, of course, all really stuck down the bottom, and they're really, honestly, they've got barely any points, and we're quite up there. We're only a few points off the likes of sort of Spurs and all those sort of teams that we're not miles away. So you actually start thinking, actually, like we're actually in pretty okay form. Don't get me wrong, this isn't pretty. You know, we're not playing great, but we are grinding out results. So, mate, it's something to be positive about, and something we can all sort of start starting to hopefully breathe a little bit of sigh of relief and think, right, we might just see this over the line. But, you know, still a long way to go, but, you know, come on your irons.